I'm Claudine Wong from KTVU Channel 2 News. We want to welcome Lori D. Wilson, who is running for the office of Assembly Member for District 11. And Assembly District 11 has been redrawn, so take a look at this map so you can see which parts of Contra Costa County are included: Bethel Island, Oakley, Knightson, Discovery Bay, and Byron. Her opponent, Jenny Callison, was unable to join us today. Today's forum is sponsored by the Contra Costa County Elections Division, Contra Costa Television, and the West County and Diablo Valley League of Women Voters. We are recording these roundtables here in the studios of Contra Costa Television. Lori Wilson, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be able to be here.
So you've had a busy month of April. I wanted to give voters a chance to get to know you. You were elected and sworn in just a few weeks ago in a special election. The former Assembly member resigned last December, but you are not a stranger to public office, the mayor of Suisun City, and officially now running for this 2-year platform. Give voters more about yourself and your platform and what you want to do in this office.
Thank you. Well, I had the opportunity. I grew up in Fresno, California on the west side, and my husband joined the military, which got us to Travis Air Force Base. And we decided to settle down when he switched from active to reserve and raise our children in Suisun City, California. Not too far after that, I decided to run for office and served. I lost the first time and had the opportunity to be appointed to a commission, the Parks and Rec Commission. And the next time I was successful and spent 6 years as the vice mayor before running for mayor, and had just finished, my 4th year as mayor before going to the seat for the assembly, which, as you noted, I was sworn in on April 6th. And so what was really exciting about being a local leader was my ability to focus on quality of life issues. And quality of life issues drive me. They're the thing I get excited about, whether it's the simple things such as like where a street light is and how that improves quality of life, to the big complicated things as the environment and protecting the environment that we serve in. Quality of life issues were key to me. And it's my core philosophical or political belief in terms of that everyone has a right to a high quality of life. Everyone has a right to define what that looks like for themselves. And it's my job as a community leader to facilitate that. And so really with the opportunity to go to the state level was to take that same core political philosophy, not just at the local level, but take it to the state level as well. And I'm so happy that the voters saw fit in the special election to send me there.
So in terms of priorities, I mean, day one for you is closer than not. And so when you're taking a look at some of the issues facing the state and facing District 11, tell me what hits the top of the list of saying, this is what I need to do to make sure I hit the ground running and represent the district.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, my top 2 priorities have been housing and mental health. And those are key issues. They're both facing crises at this time, especially in the state of California. And if you look at what are probably on the top 5 list of the state of California will be housing and mental health. And so those 2 align with something I'm already interested in and passionate about and making a difference in. And so those are what I would say would be my top 2. But my third is really like quality of life issues. It's really whatever the issue of the day is and whatever the issue that I think draws a nexus to improving someone's quality of life are the type of things I want to focus on.
Yeah, I want to dig a little deeper into those in just a moment, but I first want to talk about redistricting, because certainly that has played a role in the race. Your opponent now couldn't run in the special election because these lines were being withdrawn. District 11 newly drawn, so you have Solano County, all of Solano County, as well as portions of Contra Costa and Sacramento counties. When you're taking a look at this district and this new district and the new voters that now come to you, does it change the way you're approaching this? Do they have different issues and things that you want to address in this newly formed district?
I think that, like I said, the top 3 were housing, mental health, and quality of life. All of those matter when it was, more 50-50 between Contra Costa and Solano County, and still matter when it's just all of Solano County with just a smaller portion of Contra Costa. But I think the key difference between the previous district and now really is surrounding the Delta and it being more focused, because we do have portions of Sacramento County as well, and it's centered around the Delta. And we know that the Delta is the key water infrastructure for the entire state of California, and the importance of protecting that and making sure we're making the right investments in that area to ensure we have the necessary infrastructure to be able to protect us from, potentially an earthquake that would threaten that infrastructure within the Delta. And so I think that's probably a big thing. It was a focus before and something necessary, but now it really is time for action about what we do with this natural resources that is in the heart of AD 11. And what I believe in the redistricting efforts, they centered around that. There was a thought, if you looked at the series of maps, how they changed, there was a thought to have the I-80 corridor be what the district was centered around, but it was shifted to the Delta, which is really important because it's a critical part of how we our water supply here in the state of California.
So where do you think protection stands at this point, and what would you do next if someone says, what should we do in relation to the Delta and how to protect it?
Well, here's the deal. I've spent the last 12 years in Suisun City with my focus on Suisun City, and leveraging every relationship that I was involved in, every board I was involved in, was really thinking about, well, how, not just the greater good, but how does this benefit Suisun City? And so when thinking about the Delta, my role was very limited in that place. And so one of the first things that I did as assembly member, I was like, I want to sit down with those who are experts in water in the Delta. And so I can understand and learn how to best advocate for what our needs are. Understand as a resident, how important the Delta is, how we protect it. I was something that as a local leader, I wasn't supportive of 2 tunnels. I wasn't supportive of 1 tunnel. But at the same time, we do need infrastructure in the Delta, because if there was a major earthquake, we would see that dissipate, and we would lose something that is vital not only to our district, but also to the water supply for the entire state of California. So I think there's an opportunity for not only myself to get educated on this subject, but to use that as an opportunity to educate those in my district, so we can come up with a comprehensive solution for how we protect that vital resource that's right in the heart of our district.
I want to go you went from city to state to national. Where do you think California plays a role in your job on the national stage as well as you make policy? And what issues do you think you'll make the most impact there?
Yeah, so here's the deal about California. Where we go, typically the nation follows. We are a leader. And usually on every major change, California is usually in the front of it. And usually what the nation is doing is modeled after what we're doing in California, because we are a leader. We tend to be a risk taker, to go where no one's gone before and to push the envelope. And so I believe my job as a legislator is to continue that trend, right? And make sure we're the leader on all the emerging issues. And so some of that, I believe, is definitely when it comes to housing and mental health, and really mental health, that's key. Also healthcare. It's really important that everyone has access to quality and affordable healthcare, and not just, access in the sense of it's available, but really being able to take advantage of it. And I think that's something we haven't had, because it depends on your zip code, whether you have quality healthcare or not. We know that there are people who choose between, their medicine and eating a meal, and that absolutely should not be. And so, and there are people who are bankrupted by one medical necessity. Something happens in their family. Not only is that current generation bankrupt, but generations to come, because of the impact of that medical necessity. And we shouldn't have to worry that, is this next thing that's happening in my health going to damage the economic security of my family and my grandchildren, right? And so I think that there's an opportunity for the state of California to make strides in this particular area that the rest of the nation could follow.
So when you look at the state of your district, the state of the state, where do you think it stands now in terms of where it sits currently, and how much growth and how much change needs to happen?
I guess I might be confused by your question.
So if you think of where the district
population
is,
or
no, just in terms of how it's dealing with these issues, do you think the district's in good shape right now, or do you think there's a lot that needs to happen to get it there? And same with the state of California. As a representative of District 11, do you think the state of California is doing okay, and how much change do you think needs to come?
Yeah, I think there, for instance, I'll start with housing. I think in Solano County, we need affordable housing. People talk a lot about aging in place, and they usually mean our elderly. Can they age in place and be able to stay in the community they raise their children? We have children who can't age in place, meaning once they leave their parents' home, they can't afford the communities that they live in. So affordability is a key issue. But also one piece that plays in that is production, not being able to produce enough housing to match the growing trend in population. So Solano County is unique. We actually have borders. You can tell when you're going from one city to the other because there's open space, agriculture. That's one of the key issues, or the key drivers to our economy in Solano County is agriculture, right? And so how do we protect our open spaces? How do we protect our agriculture and make sure that there's access to them, but at the same time, make sure that in our cities, we're actually filling in those underutilized or underdeveloped areas and producing more housing.
All right,
And
I'm going to interrupt you only
go ahead.
because I asked you a very big question with very
Oh.
little time left, and I want to give you a chance to make your closing statement. So I thank
Oh.
you for answering those important questions, and you will now have 2 minutes to make your closing statement.
All right. Well, thank you for the time. It's been an absolute pleasure to be with you today and to be able to speak to the voters. I consider it an absolute honor to serve in this capacity as assembly member. I considered it an honor to serve as, a commissioner and an elected official in Suisun City. And, I recognize that it is a privilege to be able to be in this space, and I'm willing to serve as long as the voters would have me. I have had this opportunity to be a leader in Suisun City for the last 12 years, including my 4 years as mayor, which allowed me to be a leader at the Solano County level, including regional, by serving on Bay Area for Air Quality Management District, as also as Association Bay Area of Governments, where I got to be chair for housing. And so I'm looking forward to taking all of that experience and life experience to be able to make a difference for not only AD 11 and the residents of AD 11, if you would choose to give me a full term, but really for the betterment of the state of California, to make sure we're understanding as leaders in California, the quality of life needs to be the key issue, where we're looking at how do we improve the quality of life of the people we're called to serve, because everyone has a right to have a high quality of life. And I look forward to serving, to continuing to serve in that capacity. I am thankful for the seat, the honor to have served it, to be able to serve in this seat, and looking forward to serving longer. And I appreciate just all the people who've been involved with the campaign so far and who are engaging at the resident level.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. That concludes our discussion with Assemblymember Lori D. Wilson, who is running for the office of Assembly Member for District 11 for a full term. And to view this broadcast online, go to www.cocovat.us. I'm Claudine Wong from KTVU, Channel 2 News. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to vote on June 7th.